Alright, bro, so I always wanted to do a little sizzle reel on Grummz, Kern. I talked about him on the channel before. Another fucking wasteland grifter. This motherfucker's like 56 years old and shit. Go please your wife. Go sodomize yourself. Do something else because video games ain't for you, bro. Like, here's Grummz complaining about, oh, trigger warnings in Silent Hill. It's dumb, it's dumb, it's dumb. And I'm gonna break this down real quick. First, this guy responds saying you are not a gamer, where it's a slew of fucking screenshots showing him complaining about the Heaven's Knight symbol in Silent Hill 2 remake and saying, oh, it's about body positivity signage or whatever. Oh, they're trying to embrace the modern times and make this stripper sign look fat when this same sign and the way that it was positioned and set up was in the original game, and he's laughing with it, going on about it. Please tell me this is fake, blah blah blah, like believing into this bullshit. This motherfucker never played the original Silent Hill 2, otherwise he would know how this thing looks, and he wouldn't make this tweet at all. And then we keep going, right? And then he talks about, oh god, it's a bunch of fucking word salad about, oh, DEI, all this other fucking verbiage that these people use that they spew out like diarrhea. Uh, they're talking about it's not about buying games from companies that hate you or whatever. Silent Hill remake employees, DEI, whatever, and nobody gave a fuck, right? All the sales are made, the deal is done, you can't accept the message or whatever, this game's gonna flop. The typical kind of rhetoric these people do, and then it blows up sometimes in their face when the game sells 1 million, then 2 million. It's almost as if word of mouth pushed the fucking game, and none of this bullshit that you guys talk about with Angela's face or whatever, none of that shit really fucking matter at the end of the day. So it's like, shut the fuck up. It's like, I'm being on my roast session today. It's like, this guy talks. I fucking. This is one of my mutuals. I fuck with him, but he said the grift is real. Since the '90s, Silent Hill and survival horror games always had warnings, but you, a clueless, attention-seeking parasite, twist gaming into your personal political soapbox to milk outrage for cash. You exist solely to profit off of bad faith narratives, and that's exactly what he does. Like, these games always have particular warnings saying, yes, it's going to be gory, it's going to be explicit, it's going to be disturbing. I think a good example, in my opinion, and I'm going to show you guys really quickly. Sometimes I think these companies are fully obligated to put these trigger warnings into the game because, well, everyone is not like you where they can handle everything. Evil Within 1 with their photosensitivity warning. Yes, the seizures and the lights and everything that goes off in the game, that could probably kill someone and cause a seizure. So yes, they have to put certain things like this in the game to warn people just in case it happens. I think it's just a simple warning screen. You press the fucking button and you can skip it. I don't know why people are being more pussies than anything else to simply skip a warning screen if it bothers them. I talked about this before and I have the same belief and stance. This stuff is there for the people that simply just cannot handle it, or they are not medically able to handle stuff like this, unlike you. And I don't like this whole self-serving logic where human beings believe that every person on earth is the exact same. They have the exact same medical conditions, they have the exact same fucking feelings towards adverse like situations and people unaliving and whatever. If people want to walk away from certain themes and thematics and criteria in a video game, or if the trigger warnings themselves alert that person, hey, there's strobe lights in here, you're gonna have a stroke, maybe it's not good to play a game like this, then that's totally fine. I don't see the problem about this whatsoever. And then we go on, this motherfucker grifting about Alma from Monster Hunter Wilds, and it's like, how do we go from Monster Hunter Worlds to Monster Hunter Wilds? And then I guess he was talking about, and they were talking about Alma as if, oh, this is a DI coded character or whatever. There were some dumb motherfuckers thinking that Alma was the main protagonist, even though you could create your own fucking character in Monster Hunter Wilds, and you could do that in previous Monster Hunters before this. I think you could do it in Worlds. If you knew this in particular, then you would have already played the game. But once again, we already proved with that Silent Hill tweet that Grummz doesn't play fucking games for the fucking life of him. And then he took down this tweet, oh, Monster Hunter Wilds is safe, stop grifting about it, etc. And one of the things that I don't like about fucking grifters is when they obviously grifted on a previous game, right? They were completely decimated by the Monster Hunter community. They were strictly wrong when they said the blacksmith was not in the game anymore, and they grifted on her as well because they don't like her fucking haircut for some reason. It's always a fucking giant plates of bullshit with these people with new activity that doesn't make any sense whatsoever with this whole, oh, I'm gonna make an argument and it's gonna be like a piece of shit argument and I can't explain it whatsoever and it's not a detriment to the game whatsoever, but I'm gonna make it anyway. We go to this where it's like, you just grifted on this game a couple of months ago, and now you are trying to weaponize the view count and the people being on this game and the follower count against Avowed, and it's just like you just grifted on Monster Hunter Wilds and you moved on to the next thing, which is what these people always seem to do. They always seem to fucking do it. Oh, it's now Monster Hunter Wilds was woke. Oh, I got corrected immensely by the community. I made an ass of myself. I was a donkey's ass. I made a fool of myself. Let me go ahead and delete the tweet because I was completely wrong about everything I said. And now I'm going to use this game for Capcom to grift on another game I don't like. You can't make this shit up. Remember, people, Grummz also called Monster Hunter Wilds woke. Now he's backpedaling and trying to pretend he didn't. Now he's using it as a metric to bash another game. Hey Grummz, how about showing the new massive support for Lords of Fallen, since that was de-woke? It's just, dude. And then we get to the funniest bit of the video where it seems like social media managers are once again putting the kibosh on this guy. They're stomping his fucking liver in. He's trying to grift on Xbox Game Pass, and he was grifting on AC Shadows for like the longest time, just like most people. It's a fucking dumpster fire when coming to terms with like discussing that game and trying to get some constructive things out there. It's just a dumpster fire, but look, it's just, once again, Xbox Game Pass is pushing virtue signaling today, and the social media manager just said, by the way, here's like 12 free codes for Game Pass to try them and decide for yourself. Go ahead, test the game. And they gave this motherfucker free codes of Game Pass, and it's just like, and then he's in the comments like him and Endymion, they're all like fucking circle jerking and shit because he just got blown up on social media by community managers twice, bro. Once again, this is what I think of the whole Game Pass labeling and them putting out things of creators or whatever. We've seen things like this before. They already put labels out like when they basically decided to say, oh, we're going to celebrate black creators. Maybe this game will appeal to you. This is one of those things where it's like Xbox is a big store, right? And you go through it and you skim through it. If you don't like these certain like titles or tags or whatever, or these certain games, you know you can avoid them, right? Like it's a lot of shovelware as well on some of the tags when I search for games and titles and stuff like that. You could just fucking avoid the game, call it a day, avoid the title, call it a day. There it is. You're not obligated to buy any of these games if you don't want to try any of these games if you don't want to, but this roast right here is legendary because I doubt you have played any of them considering your history, considering this tweet right here. Once again, you don't know the original neon sign of Silent Hill 2, the fact that it was in the original game so far. You don't know any of that shit. So once again, I do believe that these games right here that represent communities, you have not fucking touched any of them, and I will body you in Guilty Gear Strive for free. And it is more like this guy's like a supposed game developer, right? Someone who is known, and he tweets more than he talks about his game Ember, and apparently like fucking there's like no shows on this game whatsoever. I think there's little snippets here or there, but again, if I was a game developer concerned with releasing a product, then I would be head down in the trench working on that, as opposed to fucking grifting on games that I didn't play. But again, Mark Kern, this motherfucker moves differently. And then let's see. He's such a fraud, man. He's such a goddamn fraud. It's like he's trying to damage control from being wrong. Grummz today, I totally always said Assassin's Creed Shadows would sell well. Grummz before, LOL, they are super desperate to get people to buy this shit. The man who is 98% right, everyone. By right, he means that I will now pretend I never said certain stuff. So he said it would do well. It's an AC game. The trick is if it underperforms expectations. And then he's like, oh, they're getting desperate. They're trying to make you basically get the pre-order. They're trying to make you believe into all the hype and all this other stuff and whatnot. But again, if the game does well, I think this guy is going to have a complete mental breakdown over it. I really do. And you can't say one thing and say, oh, I think it would do well, but the trick is that it underperforms. And if the trick that it underperforms does not work, then why did you make that implication in the first place? It's just like, you always have to keep a level head when it comes to video game sales and how it works. I personally believe, and if your track record is like 98% impressive, then you will probably have the answer already, but the fact is that you don't know. The good answer to this is that always keep a 50-50 chance in something selling well or not selling well. And, you know, sometimes we had games where it had good word of mouth, good reviews and everything. Evil Within 2 didn't really sell well. And then there's games that sold well beyond certain expectations, like Resident Evil 4 Remake, and people tried to be a watchdog on that game too and try to say that, oh, they took away Ashley's panties or whatever, but that game is selling upwards to about 9 to 10 million copies from its initial release. Once again, showing that if you have that opinion, it's just a minority opinion and the majority doesn't give a fuck. All right, the game has done well beyond expectations so far, and like, people just always have these arguments. And the thing about this is that sales don't dictate quality. It's just like, this game could come out incredible, and if it didn't sell well, I wouldn't basically care. I'd be like, okay, cool. But if I enjoyed it enough to say, oh, it got an 8 or it feels like a 9, and I played it and I enjoyed my experience, then they basically made a great game. I think what most of these people who are grifting wants to do is they want to basically prey on Ubisoft failing. And once again, you know, I always want every company to better their experiences. And I know people have been super hard on Ubisoft, and I remember them saying like most of the shit that I didn't like, where it's like, oh, you don't own your games anymore, we can take those away from you at any time. That definitely deserves blowback. But the thing that you have to keep into mind is that if they make a good game with AC Shadows, then it is simply a good game. Like, if I play the game on March the fucking 20th, or whenever I get it, I think I might get it like 3 or 4 days later, and then I fucking like the game, then I like the game. It's like, nobody can tell me shit. Nobody can tell me otherwise. That is just my personal experience with it. I am not, backed by shit like, oh, well, I'm gonna listen to another man's opinion and pretend that that shit is my own. No, fuck that. I would rather be intrigued with anything divisive and play it myself and see how it is myself, and then I'll give my overall verdict. Because once again, a lot of people out here be lying, a lot of people out here be damage controlling, a lot of people out here like Grummz don't be really playing any games. Like, he really doesn't. This dude just focuses on like fucking things like sales, which are irrelevant to the gamer. Like, it's irrelevant to me. The only thing sales say is what is successful to the publisher itself, and that's it. Like, if you're warring over sales, then at this point, I just have to believe that you're not doing it in a very, very good faith. You're doing it in a faith of, oh, I just want this destructive criticism. I would just want this shit to fail. That's it. And I don't really like arguments like that, to be honest. Like I think arguments like that are just, once again, it's similar to console wars. That shit's just stupid. Like, if you don't enjoy it, you don't enjoy it. That's fine. You don't have to play it. Like, and you're making this whole big tiff about buys and all this other stuff. It's just like, and if it fucking sells well, then oh my god, dude, that's going to be the biggest blow up in your face ever. It's just like, once again, uh when grifters say that something will not sell well and it will be a flop, and you know what I'm gonna say when I say this, like fucking Doctor Disaster when he said, "Oh, Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster is not gonna sell well, it's gonna flop, blah blah blah." I definitely got the Steam charts numbers, even fucking though that there's multiple people on multiple platforms like Xbox and fucking PlayStation, and I don't have that data, and I'm not using that data. It turns out that, once again, as I said before in videos, I said in previous Criticism Sucks, Capcom themselves has said the game did decent numbers for them. So that debunks every single speculation that you made about that game. As an example, you have to go into it with the actual data and what's being said by the developers and what's being clarified as a success or a flop when you talk about sales. It's just, it has to be that way, okay? And then the last funniest thing is that these social media managers are absolutely crucifying this man. They're absolutely destroying him, stepping on his balls once again. And you have fucking the Ubisoft account telling him, I think he says, oh, they are so confident they lock replies to this. Remember, identify as non-binary, all this other, rah, rah, rah stuff. And they said, thank you for considering us a top publisher. While our media ads typically don't allow comments, our regular posts do. So that's, once again, not paying attention to the advertised posts where the replies are automatically locked and the regular posts do. Now, to sort of signify if they're telling the truth or not, because I do like to look into if they're telling the truth or not, I'm going to go to one of their regular posts and see if I can make a comment. And I would say this one would suffice enough, where they say AC Shadows offers multiple challenges on expert difficulty, which is cool. They're adding difficulties to the game. And look at this. I can type, making sure I don't type a bad word, but making sure I can just type. I'm just showing you that I can just type nonsense in here, and I could probably reply to it. And you can see at the bottom here that you can see other people commenting here as well, and the replies are open, so they are indeed telling the truth. Where it's like their advertising posts can't really comment on, and we've been doing that for the longest time. But our regular posts, sure, you can say whatever you want in there, is fine. Um, yeah, it's, once again, you have to spoon feed these motherfuckers. You have to spoon feed them some knowledge, because they just simply do not understand. And the fact that you are getting completely destroyed, decimated by community managers of all people, ratioed like under the sun, dude, it's just like, come the fuck on, bruh. Get some common sense, get some gray brain matter up there, get some intelligence in there, and actually release your fucking game for once. And I know that's going to be a disaster. That's going to flop more than any game you ever grifted on, and you know it's true. You know it's damn true. I will see you guys next time. Later.